Hi YouTube, hope you guys are doing great. I wanted to follow up and do some more Dyscalculia videos for those of you that have been writing me and asking me for help. One of the things that I've noticed throughout the years that I've been doing YouTube videos and kind of documenting my experience with Dyscalculia is that some of these parents of the kids that are writing me don't believe that their kid has a learning disability, or they don't really believe in learning disabilities, which is really a shame, and they're lacking a lot of essential support from their parents that they really, really need, because it'll seem like the world is against you when you have a learning disability. It's very difficult. I think sometimes this has to do with parents and like a pride issue in a way, because if my kid has a learning disability, he's not as advanced as others, or, he's not as valuable. And I think that's a terrible mindset to be in as a parent, if that's what people are experiencing, because if your child has a learning disability, in particular dyscalculia, they usually have a high above average IQ, but then are below average on mathematics. For example, like I have a high above average IQ, but I'm at a 5th grade math level. And that's something that just happens, and I'm at peace with the matter. I got tested with a DSM-4 psychological evaluation, which I highly recommend getting your kids. This helps in the future if your kids go to college and they need that documentation of throughout the years that, yes, they've struggled. And when you have a psychologist verify that this is a disability, you can actually receive a lot more help from a university. Make sure they sign up with the Disabilities Center, or whatever the certain college or university refers to it as, but almost all schools, I think every school has to have a resource center for people with disabilities. It was a really hard struggle for me getting through Michigan State University with the RCPD, which is the Disability Center, and they give you quite a hassle, but sometimes you can get waivers, or you can have substitution courses, which would greatly help your kid. The most thing that colleges are going to complain about is that they don't want to alter their curriculum and requirements and standards so that everyone else will want to get like a free pass. Basically, if you were to have a class substituted, say like Math 101 type thing, that really doesn't alter the curriculum for the entire academic program, basically. But that's something they're going to want to try to say. And a lot of universities will act as if people with disabilities are trying to get like a free pass, which is terrible. I have suffered with dyscalculia throughout like my whole life, and a lot of people who don't know about this, it's similar to dyslexia, but it's with mathematical stuff. Giving change, reading analog clocks, counting the dice or the die with like board games, directions, and being able to recall mathematical equations. Dyscalculia is usually a genetic thing, however, it can also result from brain trauma, from like an accident or something like that. But basically, it's a memory issue, and this is where everyone gets caught up. They'll think like, well, if we just give them enough tutoring and we'll just teach them different methods of the same equation, like somehow it'll click, it'll make sense. Not necessarily. And dyscalculia varies per person. Some people have it worse than others. Some people remove themselves of it later on, and they're able to surpass what they were able to do before. However, it is a memory problem. Think of us as kind of like a goldfish with a 3-second memory in terms of math equations. Sometimes I can remember equation or what I was studying for weeks, months, and then it would go away. Sometimes it would be within minutes. The professor or tutor would try to go over something with me, and I would understand it when they showed me it, but when I had to reciprocate and do the same equation, it's like you blank out and you completely forget. So that's why it's very, very frustrating, and sometimes professors are like, I know you're trying, like, why aren't you doing this? I knew you understood what I explained last time, blah, blah, blah. But then when it comes to exam times or homework, they're failing. And it's really difficult. But anyways, people with learning disabilities are nothing to be ashamed of. As a parent, you really need to support your child. I have kids that write me who are considering committing suicide, because that's how real this is for them. And you have to remember, dyscalculia, for example, like it encompasses everything. Math seems to be, in a lot of subjects, it's a requirement for schools, things like that. And, just because some school thinks I can't do well in mathematics, they want to put me in a special ed program type thing. And the kids are frustrated, and understandably so. And it's really disheartening to hear about that parents, you're just not applying yourself. That is probably one of the most devastating things you could tell your child with a learning disability. You need to be supportive. You need to get them tested so you can have documentation. When I had my DSM-4 psychological evaluation done, I think it was in like 2003, and it was like $300. sometimes schools will pay for that. Check out your state laws with high school and see, you know, what accommodations they provide. Sometimes a separate room and extra time for testing does help. But with dyscalculia, remember, it's a memory problem. And no pun intended. And so it's really difficult. Support your kids, get them tested. You need to back them up. You need to document everything. And, you know, be accepting that, you know, maybe your kid will have to choose a different career thing. And I'm not saying that you can't get the degree that you want. I wanted to be a veterinarian, but I was like, you know, considering my issues with math, maybe I don't want to do that because people, you know, I would screw up the dosage for the animals. But there's vet techs and vet assistants, so that take care of that. And so I have my degree in communications and media studies. I also did like basically a minor in Native American studies and all sorts of different things. And with communications, I had to do a statistics course and all this other stuff too. And I was able to get my one math class that I already taken at another university and passed just by a barely because the professor felt bad for me. But I already taken this course and it didn't transfer to MSU, unfortunately. So I had them substitute that class and I had to take 3 other courses to make up for that one class. I had to do a personal finance class, logic and reasoning, and then I had like my statistics course, and then I think there was some other kind of math-related thing for my degree that they required or whatever. But anyways, as a parent, you guys, listen to your kid, really talk to them, don't assume anything, let them speak their mind, you know, and really ask them what they need to get their stuff done, help them with their homework, you know. I went to Kumon, there's like Sylvan Learning Centers and stuff like that, but with dyscalculia, it's really hard because it's just not how our brains are wired. But like I said, your kid will excel in so many different things. I started my own company. I've been on TV. I've done all sorts of cool stuff with my life. I'm writing a book. I just submitted my manuscript. Like all this other neat stuff that your kid will be able to do. They just might be slacking a little bit in the math department. So other than that, you know, if you guys have any questions on what else to do, I'll try my best to answer them as I always do. But I wish you the best of luck. To the kids, do not commit suicide. It is so not even worth it, and there's so much more to life once you get out of school, and you can learn about things that you actually want to learn about, and it's just really neat. Start your own company. Do something where you get to be in control and decide what's going to happen, or something more like a creative, humanitarian type thing where you can you know, not be so focused on mathematics. So I hope this helps, and just to bring awareness about some of the issues that kids are facing, and it's very serious for them. So, so yeah, just give your kids love and support, and that's all that they need. All right, thanks. Bye-bye.